Have you ever wondered what it's like to be the daughter of a bruja? In case you're wondering, it's Beetlejuice. This girl says that her mom would do a lot of bad brujeria because she really needed the money to support her family. Now, while she understood that, she also says that when you do brujeria, that shit does come back to you, but unfortunately, it doesn't just come back to the bruja who's doing the work. It comes back to the people who are around her as well. And this is her story. She explains that as the daughter of a bruja, she kind of lived life very differently. While other people would question if the brujeria was real or not, she knew that everything was 100% real. There were things that she had to get used to living in that house that she feels like no one else would have to deal with. She solely lived with her mom because her parents were divorced, but there were times where dad would come and stay here and there. When her dad would leave, things would immediately start happening. One of the things that would happen when he would leave is that the house would start smelling like roses. But it wasn't a good thing. When the house smelled like roses, that meant that something was about to happen. And if she was home alone, then these bad things would go towards her. This really big shadow would come out of the corner of every bedroom, and that it had like a hunched back. It had really long arms, really skinny long legs, and every time this thing would get near her, it would make her see things in her head. She wants it to be known that she is not crazy. Like, she does not have any mental health issues, and luckily today she doesn't see those things anymore. But when this thing would be around, it would make her see and hear very, very horrible things that she shouldn't be seeing and hearing. It would show her people suffering, people hurting other people. It would go as far as to show her conversations that her mom and dad would have that were none of her business and that she shouldn't be hearing. It would even show her secrets of the people that are around her that she knew. It would show her some explicit things that children her age should not see. Because of this thing showing her all of these things that a child's mind should not see, she became a very, very cold child. She knows that as a kid this did affect her because when she was a child, she would say things very aggressive, very cold tone, and people would think that she was mean or that she had no feelings, but she thinks it's because her brain had to tell her you need to erase this, and in that way she also erased all of these childlike emotions. People would tell her that she was really rude, but she just felt like she was saying the things really direct, and she didn't mean it to be rude, but she had to do it because she had to disconnect from the feelings because she lived in horror. She was terrified. There was another thing that would happen in her mom's house, and she would like to play hide and seek, and she knew that there were 16 places that she could hide. For example, one of the hiding places would be under her mom's bed, except it had to be to the right because if it was to the left, they could see her and they would find her. Her other hiding place would be behind the refrigerator. There was also a box in her dad's closet that nobody knew that she could fit in, and if she hid there, nobody would find her. She had 16 hiding spots that not her mom, not her dad, not her little cousins could find her, but it was the things that would visit the house anytime something would go wrong. Now that she's an adult looking back, she says that she thinks these things knew exactly where she was hiding, but would not find her on purpose to make her suffer. She remembers that there was this one time where she saw something coming, so she ran behind the refrigerator. However, while she was standing there, she could hear something standing in front of the refrigerator. She explains that these things can be quiet if they want to, but they could also make sounds if they want to. So anytime she knew something was coming, she would hide behind the refrigerator and she would hear their footsteps leading up to the refrigerator. So in her mind, they knew she was there. They were making these footstep sounds and they were just making her suffer hiding behind that refrigerator. She would hear the footsteps coming from a bedroom leading up to the fridge, again leading away from the fridge to the living room and then coming back. She would be trembling with fear. This last example that she gives, terrifying, and I'm not even exaggerating. Anytime she would go to bed, and she didn't sleep with her mom, she had her own bedroom, her bed would move. And it wasn't this giant movement that you would think, like The Exorcist or anything like that. She would go to sleep and she was always scared there, so she would face the wall. However, anytime that she would wake up in the morning, her bed would not be against the wall anymore. It would literally be in the middle of the room. And it's not even like the end of it there, because anytime that she would wake up, open her eyes, there would be a face right in front of her. And she's like, it's not a nice, face. Think of something deformed, like the nastiest thing, something so scary that you wouldn't want to see. And that's what I would open my eyes to in my bedroom. She knew that they weren't like spirits. There was definitely something else and something bad. Now, she would mention this to her mom. She would go to her and tell her all these things that are happening. And her mom would tell her, don't listen to any of it. Don't look at any of these things. You know that I have to work, and you know that we need the money. And whatever comes after, we'll just deal with it when we deal with it. You just told her to ignore it. You're not dealing with it. Her mom would always tell her that the same thing over and over again. And as she got older, she started to understand that these rituals, these pacts that her mom was doing, they had consequences. And these consequences she still lives with to this day. Living in her mom's house is almost like living in hell, but having to hide in different places so that these demons wouldn't find you. Even at nighttime when she had to go to the restroom in that house, she had to go, so she would go sit in the toilet and she would start hearing like 6 different people just breathing all around her. At that point, she had already disconnected so much that she would almost be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She would count every single breath that she would hear around her. She definitely had to like disconnect from her emotions because she had to deal with living there. She said that there was something that would drag itself all around the house and would leave some like black liquid behind. That she would literally be sitting there looking at this liquid just form out of nowhere, but she could hear this thing just dragging. She finally grew up and she decided to move out of that house, and when she did find her own home, she decided to protect the entire area. However, anytime that she looks outside her window, her entire land is surrounded by entities and shadows and just things that cannot go into her house but definitely are still following her. And she knows that she's gonna have to live with it because these are the consequences of what her mother did.